Yes, good evening. Today is the 24th of the 5th, 2023. So I was looking at a video the other day and it said, walking through the most dangerous part of Jamaica, 3 miles. Um, and it had like, I don't know how many views. I really had to laugh because, first of all, I don't consider that is the most dangerous part of Jamaica at all. I mean, when I came to Jamaica first and got to know my wife here in Bluefields, her family lived in Kingston, in a part of bottom of Maxfield Avenue, which was extremely dangerous. We had in the area there was a little 16-year-old who was basically the gangster chief, and he was, with the AK-47, and so that area was extremely dangerous. And I would go out there in night, walk around Maxfield Avenue. I mean, I don't know. I was like, I would not do that nowadays anymore, I must admit. But at that time, I just didn't. I didn't care. I didn't see it. Whatever. And I did some rather stupid things too. One time, I went out to Maxwell Avenue. This is the bottom of Maxwell Avenue, and it was about 11 o'clock at night, and there were these some big, heavy dudes standing at the corner with some gold chains around them. Really tough guys. And I just I just had this impulse I mean, really, I mean, this could have cost me my life. I had this impulse, and I just went over to them and I said, "Excuse me, sirs, could you help me? I just walked out of my hotel and I seem to have got lost here." Yeah, and I was assuming that they would just think it's really funny and they would start laughing, but they didn't. They looked at me like as if they had seen a ghost or something, and they were like, "What is this dude about?" Yeah, and then one of them said, "He's a Jinile," and I was like, "Oh gosh, this is my friggin' end. Yeah, I'm going to be massacred now." Yeah, and I was like, I don't know how to get out of this situation. And luckily, one of the other guys said, "Oh, I know who that is. That's Rosie's husband." I mean, that literally saved my life. So, yeah, these are the things. Then one time I was driving down with my Vespa scooter and down Maxfield Avenue, and there was a crossing there, and I was on a green light. I was riding quite hard. I mean, I was probably going about 80, 90 kilometers an hour, and somebody, a bike, turned in from the side. They had, I mean, he had a red light and I had a green light, and he turned in on me, and basically hit me, and I went flying through the air, through this thing and landed on the ground, and I really badly hurt my back, and yeah, my Vespa got a mash up and so on and so on. And at that time, I just thought, oh, and then yeah, and then a police car who was standing right basically on the red light and had seen the whole thing. He came, he stopped, and then he was telling me that basically it's both our fault. And I said, both our fault? He ran a red light, so how could that be both our fault? Yeah, and obviously they knew the guy or something like that, and they were like, well, well, you have to come down to the station, and that was what's that station called? That's a really dangerous in Tivoli Gardens. No, yeah. What's the station called? I forgot the station, but it's a few blocks away from that. And so anyway, so the next, I don't know, the next day or afterwards, I went to the station and tried to get a report. I went there about 3 times, and of course, it was completely futile. They just let me. They just didn't bother with me at all. They just let me wait, and so I gave up in the end. But man, we did some, and my wife was something else too. So one day we were driving around on the scooter. She was on her scooter and I was on my scooter, and we were driving through. Um, we went down to downtown. I don't know, we're doing some shopping or something like that, and it was extremely full. It was a Saturday, like the roads were just absolutely corked, and there were traffic jams everywhere. And suddenly she turned off into some side street, and it was completely empty. And it was, God, what is that area called next to Maxfield Avenue? Um, um, Gosh, I forgot. I'll remember, and I'll put it in the next video if I can't remember. Um, so that's actually where Bob Marley had his house, had his very former house. It was in it's a JLP area, and some anyway. So we were driving through there, and I was like, "Oh, why is this empty and so on?" And then I realized, okay, we're in the opposite because Maxwell Avenue is PNP, and that area was JLP. So we're going to the other area, basically the enemy area, and then you come to a kind of dead man zone where there's like just a no-go zone. And she was driving towards that, and some guys were standing there. They saw that we were going into the Maxfield Avenue area, and they closed in on us. And she managed to get through, and they grabbed me on the bike, and I was like, oh shit! And I just gassed it, and I just went and just wiggled my way out and managed to go through. And then we reached safely to Maxwell Avenue. But afterwards, I said, "Man, you are not easy, man. That you put us through that, man. That could have really, really gone the wrong way." So these were the adventures I had in downtown Kingston, and seeing that video where the man was walking through 3 miles on broad daylight. It was just ridiculous. I mean, I would do that today now, anytime. That's like nothing, When if you want to be brave or something, you want to go there at night, like go down Maxfield Avenue or those places at nighttime. Yeah? In daytime, it's nothing big about it. Anyway, so those were my little experiences of Kingston ghetto style, and we basically stayed there very often, like 2 weeks in an end, and we drove around everywhere. My wife had a very good. She knew Kingston like the back of her hand, so she always drove in front, and she knew the way, and she taught me how to navigate through Kingston. That's why I still know Kingston quite well. Anyway, so that was my little Kingston experience. And then one time I went out at 11 o'clock at night and took all these pictures. At that time, there was no digital cameras, and I had this 400 ASA film, and I made the most incredible pictures, which are like basically nobody can make those kind of pictures. Not no black man or white man or anything. And I had some family with me, and I just went through there and made those pictures. I mean, that's extremely risky, because people, especially at night in the ghettos, they don't want to get their pictures taken and so on. But and I made these pictures, and I have to have a look if I can find them still. I might have. There were slides. I remember there were slides. I might have them somewhere. If they're probably damaged, but maybe I can find some because they are really historic pictures. I mean, nobody can go down there 11 o'clock at night and make pictures in the gun ghettos down there. So anyway, those were my little experiences in Kingston, and that's the video for today. It was number 30, and please like and subscribe to the videos, and see you tomorrow in the next video.